The mind is a curious thing, isn't it? We spend most of our lives listening to its chatter, believing it to be who we are. Yet we seldom stop to ask, what is this thing we call my mind? It is like a monkey, restless and chattering, leaping from one branch of thought to another. It worries about tomorrow, chews over yesterday, and seldom rests in the immediacy of now. And yet we are told, by teachers, parents, gurus, books, that if only we could control it, discipline it, force it into order, then we would finally be free. But think of the paradox. How can the mind control itself? How can the prisoner hold the key to its own cage? If you try to stop thinking, you'll notice that the effort itself is a thought. The very command, "Be still," is another ripple in the water, disturbing the surface all the more. It is as if you were trying to smooth a pond with a flat iron. The harder you press, the more the ripples spread. And so you might wonder, is the mastery of the mind to be found in more effort, more discipline, more struggle? Or is there something else, something subtler, that we have overlooked in our frantic attempts to seize control? Let me suggest to you that mastery is not what you think it is. It is not the domination of thought, nor the silencing of inner noise by sheer force of will. True mastery comes in seeing clearly what the mind is, how it moves, and in realizing that you need not fight with it. The mind is not an enemy to be conquered, but a game to be understood. Like music, it plays, it flows, it weaves patterns of sound and silence. And when you listen without grasping, without clinging, you begin to see the humor of it all. You are not the mind, just as you are not the wind that blows through the trees. You are the space in which it happens. Imagine for a moment that your thoughts are clouds drifting across the vast sky of awareness. Some clouds are heavy and dark, promising a storm. Others are light and fleeting, vanishing almost as soon as they appear. But notice, the sky itself is never disturbed. It does not cling to the clouds, nor does it attempt to push them away. It simply allows. And you see, this is the essence of mind mastery, not control, but spaciousness. When you stop trying to rearrange the sky, you realize it has been perfect all along. The problem is that most of us confuse ourselves with the clouds. We identify with every passing worry, every fleeting memory, every passing impulse. And so we are tossed about like a leaf in the wind, thinking that every cloud is our destiny, every storm is our doom. But what if you were the sky? What if all this noise was just weather passing through? Then mastery would not be about fighting, but about remembering. Remembering the vastness, the stillness, the openness in which all thoughts come and go. And here lies the strange twist. The moment you stop fighting the mind, it begins to quiet itself. The very act of letting be is the secret door. Like a child who ceases to cry when it no longer feels restrained, the mind settles when it is no longer resisted. But this does not mean that the mind disappears, or that thoughts are bad. They are simply part of the play, like waves on the sea, inseparable from the ocean itself. And in this play, you begin to see beauty even in the chaos. The thoughts that once tormented you become like passing birds, interesting perhaps, but never binding. So the question arises silently in you, if I am not my thoughts, then who am I? And here begins the most profound mastery, not a power over the mind, but a discovery of that which is beyond it.
Now, when you begin to look beyond thought, something remarkable happens. You discover that awareness itself, the space in which all thoughts rise and fall, is untouched. This awareness has no agenda, no beginning, no end. It does not judge, it does not compare, it does not cling. It is simply there, like the silent witness of all that passes. And the strange thing is, this awareness is you. Not the little self that worries and plans and measures, but the deeper self, the timeless presence that has always been here. We spend our lives imagining that we are the story being told in our heads. The narrator who says, "I must do this, I must avoid that, I must become someone." But if you look closely, you will see that this narrator is nothing but a collection of old echoes. It repeats what it has been told. It borrows lines from the past. It projects fears into the future. But who is listening to the narrator? Who is hearing all these lines? That listener is your true self, and it is already free. The mastery of the mind, therefore, is not about winning an argument with your own thoughts. It is about shifting your attention from the drama of the voice to the silence in which it speaks. Like watching a play, you can enjoy the performance, even feel its intensity, without forgetting that you are seated safely in the audience. The actor may weep or rage, but you remain the one watching. And then a profound ease arises. Life no longer feels like a constant battle against yourself. You laugh at the absurdity of having ever believed you were trapped inside the mind, struggling with thoughts as though they were chains. For in truth, they were never more than shadows passing across the light. And you begin to wonder, if I am this awareness, boundless and free, then what is the purpose of all this thinking at all?
You see, the mind is not the villain. Thought is not the problem. In fact, thought is one of the most extraordinary instruments in the universe. It can build bridges, compose symphonies, cure disease, map the stars. The difficulty begins only when we mistake the tool for the master, when we forget that the mind is meant to serve, not to dominate. It is as if you had a wonderful car but never learned how to drive it. Instead, you let it drag you down winding roads, into ditches and cliffs, insisting all the while that you are in control. But when awareness takes the driver's seat, thought becomes a marvelous companion. It works when you need it, and rests when you don't. It becomes like fire, useful when contained, dangerous when left to run wild. To master your mind is not to extinguish fire, but to learn how to hold it rightly, how to let it serve its true purpose without burning you. Think of a painter with a brush. If the painter is anxious, if the hand trembles with fear or desire, the strokes are chaotic. But when the painter is steady, open, present, the brush becomes an extension of something far deeper. In the same way, when you are grounded in awareness, your thoughts paint the canvas of life with clarity instead of confusion. And even the so-called mistakes become part of the art, strokes that give texture to the masterpiece. So you begin to see mastery is not the end of thought, but the dance with it. You let it come, you let it go, you use it when it's useful, you laugh at it when it's absurd. And suddenly the whole burden of being the thinker drops away. You are no longer enslaved by the endless stream.
You are the space in which it flows, and in that space lies the true freedom. And then a new question quietly arises. If freedom is here already, then what has all this struggle been for?
And so we arrive at the final twist, the quiet laughter at the heart of it all. You have been seeking to master the mind, to tame it, to overcome it, and in the seeking you overlooked the simplest truth. There was never anything to conquer. The mind was never your enemy, it was only a mirror, reflecting the movement of life, a river flowing in patterns both wild and serene. What made it seem like a trap was not the river itself, but your attempt to grasp it, to hold on to water with a clenched fist. And now you see, you were free the whole time. When this realization dawns, a great ease settles into your being. The tension of self-improvement, the burden of becoming someone, the constant demand to fix and control, all of it dissolves like mist in the morning sun. You begin to live as life itself, unforced, unhurried, perfectly at home in the present moment. Thought still comes, yes, but it no longer binds. It plays like music, a background melody to the dance of existence. And in that dance, even your mistakes, your stumbles, your so-called flaws are embraced as part of the rhythm. So, what does it mean to master your mind forever? It means to stop trying so hard, to stop treating yourself as a project, a problem to be solved. It means to notice that awareness, the vast open sky of your being, is already free, already whole, already complete. The mind is but weather passing through, and you are the sky that holds it all. To master the mind is to smile at its games, to let it do its work when needed, and to rest in silence when not. And perhaps you now wonder, if the mind was never truly in chains, then what else in your life might be far freer than you've ever imagined?